We have grown really for a nonprofit at a rapid rate with all of the programs that we're offering to the community that are either low cost or no cost. So kind of the theme around our department is if you're going to fail, fail fast. Mm-hmm. So, working in a digital world, it's easy to correct or pivot. But I think that for us, the growth aspect of this is we're forward thinking.
Welcome back to the Marketing with ATMA Podcast, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to be successful. My name is Bryan, and I'll be your host today. Today, we have a very special guest, and her name is Cassie Davidson, and she is a leader at the Humane Society of North Texas, an organization dedicated to saving, sheltering, and protecting animals across our communities. Through education, advocacy, and hands-on care, the Humane Society plays a critical role in improving the lives of animals, while also strengthening the communities they serve. Cassie, welcome to the show. But before we get to the show, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by NuvoDesk Co-working, the home of Arlington's most accessible production-ready podcast studio. Whether you're launching your first show or leveling up your content game, NuvoDesk gives you a professional studio environment where you can walk in, hit record, and create. But NuvoDesk is more than just a podcast room. It's a fully equipped business hub with private offices, conference rooms, and workshop and event spaces designed to help you host, collaborate, and grow. If you're ready to elevate your brand, your business, or your voice, book your next recording or your next tour at nuvodesk.com. Create here, work here, build here. Today's episode is brought to you by Nuvio, the all-in-one business platform designed to help you build, manage, and scale with confidence. With Nuvio, you can build your own website in minutes, manage all of your leads and customers through a powerful CRM, and if you're in the restaurant industry, you can run your entire operations using Nuvio's modern point-of-sale system. Whether you're a startup, a service provider, or a full-scale restaurant, Nuvio gives you everything you need in one place. Simple, connected, and built to grow with you. Discover why entrepreneurs are switching to Nuvio. Visit Nuvio.com and run your entire business on one platform. Well, welcome back to the ATMA Podcast, and like I said, we have a special guest today, and her name is Cassie. She's with the Humane Society, and thank you for jumping on, Cassie, this podcast. And this podcast is about educating and helping entrepreneurs, organizations, nonprofits, and what it looks like to build, launch, grow, and scale. Now, we do build, launch, grow, scale here in a marketing agency, and building a foundation, launching into the market, growing and nurturing relationships, and scaling. But that could look like different for all kinds of organizations and businesses. And I'm actually excited to talk about your organization because it's a pretty large organization, right? The Humane Society of North Texas. Mm-hmm. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Sure. I am Cassie Davidson, the Senior Director for Marketing, Communications, and Public Relations at the Humane Society of North Texas. I've been connected to the Humane Society of North Texas since 2017, but I've actually been in animal welfare for 17 years.
17 years,
yeah,
wow.
17
you must
years.
really like animals.
I do. It's more than liking animals, and we'll probably get into that here in just a little bit.
No, absolutely. And so, you've seen our kind of flow, build, mm-hmm. launch, grow, scale. We're going to talk about the foundation, what makes a good foundation for an organization. And so what initially drew you personally to be in this space, and what made this mission something you wanted to be a part of?
Sure. I would say a lot of people don't realize the Humane Society of North Texas is independently run. We are not owned by the Humane Society of the United States, who has recently rebranded, but that has caused an awful lot of confusion with humane societies around the country. So our Humane Society of North Texas originally started in 1905. I mean, that's over 120 years ago.
Wow.
And originally started as a women's shelter off of Lancaster Avenue here in Fort Worth. Grew to women and children, and then we knew it was going to be women, children, and their pets coming from really horrific situations. Mm-hmm. But as additional needs and additional help was provided for women and children, women's shelters, places for them, placement centers for them, we found that we could specialize in pets. And so this all started in 1905, and we have had some crazy animals at our shelter, from giraffe. We've had a tiger that is now in a sanctuary. We've had anaconda, all kinds of crazy animals. We don't deal with that as much anymore. We like to say we really specialize in hamsters to hooves.
Gotcha.
And we'll get to that as well. But I think what drew me in was 17 years ago, I hadn't had my twins yet, and I really just wanted to give back to my community. I felt that I've got some extra time. Why don't I go volunteer? Mm-hmm. And it just started with walking dogs, and then helping clean kennels, or helping them with offsite adoption events. And it just led to a long-term relationship, to where at that point, fast forward 10 years, they were pursuing me to come and actually work for the organization.
Okay.
But that was never the intent. The goal was always just, I've got to give back to my community. And after I had my twins, I've got to show my children,
mm-hmm.
you have to give back. Let's round you out. We have to have an appreciation for life.
Wow. It's funny, you talk about giving back community. You gave with no expectation. Mm-hmm. And that's recently been a topic in multiple podcasts, multiple conversations we've had. In fact, I'm a part of an organization called BNI, Business Networking International, and their core value is givers gain, right? Mm-hmm. You have to give before you gain. And I think that's just a foundation of any successful organization. Is most times when you, even nonprofits, profits, it doesn't matter who, if we're going into things with the foundation of me, right, instead of we, or how can I serve, mm-hmm. right, then that's where business and organizations fail. Right. It's very, and it's funny because we've had multiple conversations within our organization of, you can't be selfish, you have to be selfless, right? When you're selfless, you'll find out it's one, more rewarding, mm-hmm. and then two, all of a sudden things just start to fall in place, mm-hmm. right? So it's very interesting that you didn't go in expecting to be a part of this organization. It just happened, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, organically. And my kids started donating their time as well after school. So it really became just kind of family.
Yeah.
Truly.
That's awesome. So when you think about the early foundation of the organization, what core values have remained consistent over time?
I will say one of the things that really drew me to the Humane Society of North Texas was how they wanted to change really the tapestry of what was happening in animal welfare. When I started back in 2017, it's called a live release rate. And what that means, all shelters, all municipalities, all nonprofit shelters have this. It's the percentage of how many pets are leaving your shelter alive. Are you euthanizing for space? Are you euthanizing for behavior? What are the causes here? And there was a time back, again, 2017 timeframe, where we had a new president that had just come on to the Humane Society of North Texas. And, she was unsettled. She was not good with what she was seeing in such a low live release rate. Like, how can we operate like this but still serve our community? Mm-hmm. And so she brought me on within her first year. And I think that it is not a person, it is a team of dedicated leaders that have changed really the tapestry of the Humane Society of North Texas. And I say that because we have sustained a 97% live release rate for years. And that does not happen overnight. That is hard work. That is a lot of partnerships. That is a lot of animal movement. And there is absolutely a business side to an animal shelter. And so that's the space I work in.
Wow. Well, we are, if those watching, if you're a dog lover and a cat lover, and you hear some of the stories that you've even shared with me, it's miraculous what you guys do, and heartbreaking at times, right? But there's a sense of hope that you guys bring to saying, hey, there are people out there that are willing to step up and help with these overcrowded shelters that, you don't want to see any animal be put down when they don't need to be, right? And so speaking of that, launching right, educating and getting these programs out there, what are the key services that programs that Humane Society provides today?
Oh, I love these programs so much. We have one program called Ray of Hope. It is a program dedicated to senior citizens' pets, and it is no cost. So what we do is every week we have scheduled appointments for our senior citizens, low-income senior citizens in the community, and we take care of their pets so that they don't end up surrendered in a shelter. I mean, research has shown that seniors with pets are living longer, more fulfilled lives. They're actually getting up out of bed. They're walking. They have something to take care of, something to love. They've got companionship. I can't even imagine my grandparents, either not having a pet or something they were responsible for, or not feeling that love from their pet. So that is one of the programs that we offer. Is our program for senior citizens. That's just one of many. I could keep going.
It just hit me. And unfortunately, I had a friend that passed away, and he had a dog. They're looking for a home for the dog. Is that something that the Humane Society assists with?
Absolutely. So we do have intake services. It's by appointment. The Humane Society of North Texas does not euthanize for space. We are so far past that. And being that we are a nonprofit, there is a difference in a nonprofit animal shelter, and we're the oldest here in North Texas. There's a difference in a nonprofit animal shelter and a municipality. Your municipalities are those that are funded by the city and the state. We are privately funded. We are completely donor funded. So all of our programs, all of our services, all of our intake, all of our adoptions, like everything is done thanks to the North Texas and beyond communities.
Wow. Well.
So yes, we do have an intake program. It's by appointment. We behaviorally evaluate. We don't ever want to put a pet into our program that is fractious or that could cause problems. We look at every pet we're bringing into our program as, is this a pet I could adopt? Is this a pet that could go safely into a home? And from there, we provide resources if we don't have immediate availability, and we also have a waiting list. So we absolutely do our part to intake pets in need in the community. But even past that, we are a community partner. So we go to all of the municipalities that are struggling with pets being dumped. We get them dumped too. But with pets that are being dumped, anytime there's a crisis and, they had a surge of 100 pets over a weekend, we will work with them and go pull pets from their shelters so that they don't have to euthanize. So it's constant movement.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. And so you just kind of touched on this, but, engaging with the community, whether through adoption, education, outreach, tell us a little bit about, what does that look like? But, you kind of went into it, but a little bit more.
We are very community centric. And I think that when I came on board and we built the team that we have, that was really the core. It was the essence of who we are. And we have been community-centric ever since. So it really has been, how many years is that? Eight years, I guess, almost 9 years now. So between our Ray of Hope program, which is built for senior citizens' pets, we also have a veterans program for free adoptions that, again, is sponsored by our community so that any veteran can have a pet. And we know that, again, you make that lifelong connection with this animal, and it changes everything.
Absolutely. We just talked about my dog just earlier, and it's so funny. He's a cute little monster is what I always tell people, but he is like you said, it's funny you say that, he is a ray of hope, right? He has completely changed our household for the better as far as bringing fun and life, and just those very little moments that you're like, takes you away from all the stress and problems, right? So what does successful outcome look like for your organization on a day-to-day basis? So
I would say success looks like adoptions. Success looks like donations. I mean, if you try to balance the two, you've got operations and you've got, the development side. And so that's the side I'm on, is marketing, communications, development. And I think success looks like, part of our success is sustainability, making sure that we do have donations coming in, but also animal movement. And whether that is hosting adoption events across the Metroplex, Dallas, and Fort Worth. I believe we have 11 stores now between PetSmart and Petco, where we bring our trailer 6 days a week. So we are meeting the community where they are at, not having them come to the shelter. So I think really for us, sustainability is going to be making sure that we're on the right trajectory, that we have the funds to continue our community work, but we're also adopting. So it's kind of like a two-prong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that it's extremely important that that you have KPIs, right? And it's interesting that some nonprofits struggle with this, especially when they're starting off a nonprofit, because you have to have a balance between partnerships like Petco and PetSmart, and but you have to have the right partnerships, right?
You are so right. You are so right.
And but it's kind of like a catch-22, because you have to have awareness in the sponsors and vendors, and then you also have awareness in people that you're serving, the households, the shelters, saying, hey, we're here to provide resources, right? And so I think that's extremely important to focus on when you're launching your organization, or just launching campaigns or any kind of marketing campaigns, any kind of outreach. I think that's extremely important, right? But then you go into a grow phase. And we had a conversation off camera, but the growth doesn't always look like growth, right? There are challenges that come in place when you are growing. So can you tell us some of the biggest challenges you've gone through with the Humane Society, and how did you overcome that?
Sure. I think that because we have grown really for a nonprofit at a rapid rate with all of the programs that we're offering to the community that are either low cost or no cost. So kind of the theme around our department is, if you're going to fail, fail fast. So, working in a digital world, it's easy to correct or pivot. But I think that for us, the growth aspect of this is we're forward thinking, and just in that business model alone, we are constantly brainstorming, constantly dreaming up ways, listening to the community. What is their immediate need? What are they looking for? Now, we can't provide everything to everyone, but we certainly do our part to support the greater community.
Right. And how does balancing growing demand services with available resources, what does that look like?
So again, I think that's going to look like we have an entire department that is fundraising for us. So, funds are essential for everything that we do, because we don't receive city or state funding. And with a lot of nonprofits, any other animal welfare nonprofit, it is really, really hard to get it off the ground, because you are funded privately. And so our greatest challenges, as you mentioned, have been just making sure we have the right partnerships. And we have been very, very blessed in our current relationships. I can remember years ago we would partner, and it just was not a good fit for both. We want to give and take equally, and it just was not a good fit. And so, like I said, we're going to fail fast, right? So we learn and we grow from that. But we're on track now. When you talk about the KPIs, I mean, that's fundamental to what we do, because there is a business side to an animal shelter, and we have to stay on top of it.
It's so, you just brought up another key point that I've done plenty of workshops on this, but this goes, and I just did a social media post this morning about this. The 5 pillars of business or organization, or any, I always tell people there are really 5 things, and I like to keep it 5 so we can keep it on one hand. Okay. It's easy to remember. But when starting a nonprofit or a business or anything, we got to take a look at 5 things, which is legal, finance, marketing, sales, and operations, right? And what a lot of organizations struggle with is keeping those departments separate but working together. And so, when growing, like you just said it yourself, you have a team that really is your sales force, right? That's out there, going out, getting partnerships, getting funding. Then you have a marketing team that's going out, outreaching, building awareness, letting people engage, right? Sure. Obviously, in internal operations. But you just said it yourself. You have to have funding and finance, right? And so I think a lot of people, they want the marketing, the sales, and operations, but they have to realize there's got to be funds, and either you got to go get it somewhere, right? In this case, whether that's outreach, grants, things of that nature, but there's got to be funding involved to help you scale the way you want, right?
For sure. In the way that when you talk about marketing, there is such a difference in the way that a for-profit would market versus a nonprofit. I mean, I don't want to name drop. Can I name drop? But let's say that you are a major shoe company.
Okay.
How about that? Let's say you're a major shoe company. Okay. So all you have to do is put a logo on it. And it's going to sell because they have created a brand that is sustainable and that is highly desirable.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, they're spending a lot of money on marketing, but their brand is known. When you look at a nonprofit and you look at us in particular as an animal shelter, our product happens to be pets or programs. And so, I'm not trying to minimize the value of our pets or our programs. I'm just saying in the marketing world, you market differently.
Correct.
Major shoe companies, literally all they have to do is showcase a logo and it sells. We have to market based on emotion and community and what we are giving back. And in order to give back, we have to receive. Yeah. So we definitely have a strategy in place that has worked very well for us. And we just see it, just as you said, when you scale like this, we just see it continuing to grow.
Yeah. So, it's because you kind of just opened the window for me. So you just, and when it comes to marketing, like you said, there's different types of marketing. And the misconception is that branding, marketing, advertising, all of this is the same, and it's not. And so you have, to your point, when you're building a brand, right? It's a value of the going to Starbucks, right? Like, I mean, the value of the brand, the value of the product, right? And if you build that brand, the more value it holds to use the product, use that service, utilize that company, because you can trust the reliability, the consistency on that brand. And in advertising, it's just getting it out there, and getting in front of the right people.
That's the key.
Yes, getting in the right people, okay? Because you can get out there to everybody, but not everybody wants your product or service, right? Or not everybody's interested or wants to engage.
We found that even in that space, you could discourage people, and we certainly don't want to do that. So we definitely want to make sure that we are striving to hit the target audience.
Yeah. Well, you can get in front of the wrong person and be like, well, I don't care about this, right? What's so funny is I hate this phrase. There's a lot of people that say, well, negative publicity is good publicity. That's completely could help you tarnish your brand and business, right? How you navigate negative exposure tells you a lot about your business, and you could flip the switch. But that goes to the story side of it, the story of and your brand itself, right? Who you are on a core level as an organization. So I just think it's interesting because when we take a look at marketing advertising, it's not simple, right? I mean, you've been doing this a long time. You're the PR person. You've been doing marketing. I mean, you've gone through ups and downs with marketing. I mean,
for sure. Can
you tell us a little bit about like your experience with that?
I mean, I would say that one thing that we have been steadfast with is we are transparent. And I think some people may argue and say, well, you shouldn't, show the belly of the beast. Well, why not? We have nothing. We're not hiding anything from anyone. All of our financials are public record. So if you have a question and I don't have the answer, I'm going to find it for you. I'm not going to try and persuade you one way or another. I mean, again, when you work in a PR world, of course, you want to be able to move the needle in the right direction. However, I think that there is something that should be acknowledged in truth telling. We have become the industry leader. We are contacted by all the local radio, TV stations as experts. And even if they know that we can't provide an answer, they'll call me and say, hey, we need to do a story on this. Do you know anybody? And I think that lends itself to the transparency that we have maintained for years, ever since I came on. I think that's another just very genuine part of the Humane Society of North Texas is we answer questions. Yeah.
So I think it was 2 years ago, I did a podcast, but I was interviewing my Gen Z interns, and they have a phrase, and it says, be real, right? And I think that that's becoming more and more, and especially now with AI, nobody wants fake anymore, right? And, organizations and businesses, they're like, well, this AI is taking over. Yes, but you got to be careful because just because AI is going to help you simplify things, it doesn't take away the authenticity that's needed and required to talk to a human being, right? And so, and I'm not saying that, I mean, I use AI. I use AI all the time. Our organization uses AI, but there's a time and place to use AI, right?
Well, and I'll tell you, we tell our interns with our internship program, you know, people say all the time, like, AI is going to take over the world. Oh my gosh, you know, so many people are going to lose jobs because of AI. And I don't want to get in trouble for saying this. It's just personal opinion, but I don't feel like AI, I haven't read, I'm not convinced AI is going to take over the world. I do feel that people who understand AI will be the ones that are the game changers. And so we have started integrating AI for a while now into a lot of our processes as well.
Yeah, I think it's I think of it because it goes straight into this next section here is a scale, right? And so scale, what is scaling all about? Well, when we talk about scaling in marketing, we're talking about building the conveyor belt. Well, that's what AI is going to help us with.
Yes.
You know, you've built the foundation, hopefully, with your organization, with your people, with your product, with your service. But once you're in the scale phase, now we can talk. Now we can talk about all this technology that's out there that can help us build this conveyor belt. Now, before we get off topic, though, scaling for a nonprofit and organization does look different, right? In a nonprofit, expansion, vision, and community leadership is key, right? So, what does scaling impact look like for the Humane Society?
I think that we're dreamers, and so we have a lot of programs that we want to bake up and put into the community. But again, without funding, it's not sustainable. So we do all the footwork ahead of time. So for us to scale, we are testing. So we are testing programs for the community, testing ways that we are communicating with the general public, testing adoption, ways to better adopt platforms that people might be using to find their perfect pet. And then from there, we are adjusting. And I think that that's really what will move the needle for us.
That's so funny you say testing, and you know, when people think testing, they only think, oh, maybe a software or website. I mean, you guys are testing programs, and you know, it's
we're testing
getting
people.
feedback. Exactly,
Testing people.
That's what it boils down to, right?
Yeah. And we are very community centric, but we're also, you know, I want the relational equity. So for me personally, that is what I focus on is really just having that equity with everyone that I work with.
Yeah. And so, you know, what are some of the goals this, you know, next few years, and how you continue to expand your reach for the Humane Society?
I think some of the goals for the next few years are we really need a new shelter. I mean, it's been 120 years. So I think that we have outgrown it. And although we have several city blocks of all of our shelter programs and our clinic and our cruelty building, a lot of people don't realize we actually have a humane investigations department working with 7 counties. We do a lot, and so we need to create a capital campaign. So that's what we're working towards now, is finding the land that we could build on here in Fort Worth. And then from there, we want to build out a nice, beautiful shelter that can intake more, that can support more community, that can really sustain our programs.
That's awesome. Well, not just a new shelter, but you recently started an equine ranch.
Our equine ranch is actually 10 years old.
Oh, okay. 10 years old.
10 years old. We have actually rehomed over 1,000 horses over the last 10 years, but we have the only equine ranch in North Texas that rescues through cruelty, rehabilitates, and rehomes. We are the only large scale. We're the only one.
Yeah, I had to get educated when I was doing research on the equine ranch, right? Luckily, we worked with a Western, manufacturing company, so we kind of have the ins and outs of, how people that are in the Western world and how they communicate.
It's hot right now.
Oh, yes,
it is. Such a hot, it's a hot button.
It is, and it's growing.
Yeah, right? But with our equine ranch, we're increasing, almost doubling our capacity for this ranch. So being around for 10 years, and we're going through a redevelopment right now. We received an incredible grant to be able to do this. So we're going to be building like a community center like barn dominium style, where we will be able to actually educate the public, but even at our equine ranch, we have programs. And one program that is completely no cost is the wellness program for anyone struggling with PTSD or with cancer or survivors of. And so just based on the human horse connection, you can schedule times to go out to the ranch and work with our lead trainer and just have that work on that bond together. It is powerful.
And that's what I was about to say. Those who are not educated on what an equine ranch is horses. Okay.
It's horses. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, and a lot of people, if for those who aren't into the Western world, that it's a horse ranch, and you have lots of horses. You also have a mammoth.
We have a mammoth donkey.
She's like.
We have a mammoth donkey. His name is Zeb, and he is enormous. If you've never seen a mammoth donkey, it's worth just coming out to the ranch just to, meet some of the horses. And right now our capacity is down because we are restructuring our pastures. But I think that just coming out for a visit and seeing what it's all about, like I said, we're going to double our capacity, 25 to 35 up to 60 horses that we can then intake, rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome. But Zeb is our mascot. He's not going anywhere.
There you go.
He is huge. It catches people off guard, but he is huge.
I've seen pictures, and I'm like, that is a whole two people right there.
Yeah.
Well, Cassie, thank you for coming on to the Marketed with ATMA podcast, and thank you for educating us. I mean, HSNT, Humane Society of North Texas. You guys have been here since
1905.
1905. See, and even though you've been in an organization for that long, there's still opportunity to build, launch, grow, and scale in different capacities. So those listening, we thank you for joining us and joining Cassie and I on this venture to talk about the Humane Society of North Texas. Where can we find the Humane Society of North Texas, by the way?
We have a fabulous website. So hsnt.org is our website. All of our programs, all of our services, all of our pets, everything is one-stop shop.
There you go. Well, visit hsnt.org to find out more about the Humane Society of North Texas. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Once again, my name is Bryan. Thank you for listening to the Marketed with ATMA podcast, and we will see you guys next time.